Have you ever held a warm cup of ginger tea on a cold morning and thought to yourself, at least I'm doing something good for my body, especially as you get older? Most people over 60 believe that simple habit is protecting their health. But what if I told you that the very drink millions of seniors rely on every day could be quietly damaging their stomach and placing dangerous stress on their kidneys without a single warning sign? At first, I'm Dr. Richard Hale, and what I'm about to share may challenge something you've trusted for years. Here's the urgent truth after age 60. Your digestive lining becomes thinner, your kidneys filter more slowly, and the body loses its margin for error. When ginger is used the wrong way at the wrong time or with the wrong medications, it doesn't just cause mild discomfort. It can trigger internal irritation, silent bleeding, and kidney overload that builds day after day until the damage is already done. And that's what makes this so dangerous. Most people don't feel it until it's too late. But don't turn this off yet, because this is not about fear or telling you to give up ginger forever. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly why this happens, who is most at risk, and most importantly, how to use ginger safely so it warms your body without harming your stomach or exhausting your kidneys. Stay with me, because one small adjustment could make the difference between aging with strength or aging with regret. Most people believe danger comes from the disease itself, high blood pressure, heart problems, diabetes. But in real life, especially after the age of 60, the most dangerous moments often happen in between treatments, when a healthy habit quietly collides with prescription medication. And one of the most underestimated collisions is this ginger used together with daily medication. I want you to imagine a typical winter morning. A senior wakes up, feels a bit cold, a bit stiff, reaches for their pills, blood pressure medication, maybe aspirin, maybe a diabetes pill, just as the doctor instructed. Everything feels responsible. Everything feels safe. And then almost automatically they prepare a hot cup of ginger tea. Not because anyone told them to, but because ginger has always been seen as natural warming and harmless. This is exactly where the danger begins. Let me tell you about Mr. Thang, 71 years old, a retired engineer, disciplined, careful, never missed his medication. Every morning he took his blood pressure pill and a low-dose aspirin to protect his heart. On cold days, he added a strong cup of ginger tea right after, believing it helped circulation and kept him warm. 2 weeks later, he was rushed to the emergency room with severe abdominal pain, dizziness, and black stools. The diagnosis shocked his family: acute stomach bleeding, followed by a sudden drop in blood pressure. And then the second blow, acute kidney failure. Doctors later said that if he had arrived even an hour later, dialysis might have become a permanent part of his life. This didn't happen because the medication was wrong. And it didn't happen because ginger is toxic. It happened because their effects stacked in a dangerous way. Here's the science explained simply. Many common medications used by older adults, blood pressure drugs, heart medications, aspirin, warfarin, certain diabetes drugs, already affect blood flow, clotting ability, or kidney workload. Ginger, although natural, is not neutral. It has blood-thinning properties similar in direction, though not in strength, to aspirin and anticoagulants. When two substances that reduce clotting are taken together, the blood can become too thin. In a younger body, this may cause nothing more than mild irritation. But in an older stomach, where the protective lining is thinner and healing is slower, this combination can trigger silent internal bleeding. And that's only half the story. Ginger also interacts with liver enzymes, the very system responsible for breaking down medication. When those enzymes are altered, a drug can suddenly become stronger than intended or wear off too quickly. Blood pressure may drop too low. Blood sugar may fluctuate unpredictably. When blood pressure drops suddenly, the kidneys suffer immediately. Kidneys do not like surprises. They need stable blood flow to function. When that flow drops even briefly, kidney cells begin to die. And unlike skin or muscle, kidney cells do not regenerate easily. This is why so many emergency kidney injuries in seniors seem to come out of nowhere. The lab results look fine 1 month and suddenly decline the next. The trigger is often not a new disease, but a combination that was never meant to happen together. If you're listening right now and thinking, but I've been doing this for years and I feel fine, that's exactly what makes this so dangerous. The body doesn't always warn you loudly. Sometimes it whispers, Mild dizziness, a little stomach discomfort, fatigue you blame on age. These are not harmless signs, they are early signals that the balance has already been disturbed. So what is a safe rule? It's simple but critical. Never consume ginger within 3 to 4 hours of taking prescription medication. And if you are on long-term treatment, especially blood pressure drugs, heart medication, anticoagulants, or diabetes medication, the safest choice is to avoid ginger entirely unless your doctor explicitly approves it. Warm water can warm the body without altering blood chemistry. Ginger tea cannot. I want to be very clear here. This is not about fear. This is about respect for how fragile the balance becomes as we age. Many seniors end up hospitalized not because they ignored medical advice, but because they added something extra, something natural, without realizing it could change everything. And before you tell yourself this is rare, understand this: emergency departments see this pattern every winter. Seniors come in with bleeding, low blood pressure, sudden kidney injury. When doctors dig deeper, they often hear the same sentence: "I just drank some ginger tea. I thought it would help." Now pause for a moment and ask yourself honestly, have you ever taken your medication and then reached for ginger the same morning? If so, I want you to remember this section because it may already have protected you from a mistake you didn't know you were making. But here's the part most people still don't expect. Medication is not the only place where ginger creates dangerous conflicts. There is another combination, much more common, sitting quietly on family dinner tables, that stresses the stomach, disrupts circulation, and slowly starves the kidneys of blood. And just knowing about medication interactions isn't enough, because this next mistake is even more widespread, and most people make it without realizing it. Just now you learned how ginger can quietly clash with medication and push the body into a medical emergency. But here's the uncomfortable truth: even if you never mix ginger with pills, many people still harm their stomach and kidneys through a far more common mistake. One that happens at the dinner table inside loving family meals without anyone suspecting danger. Think about how often duck appears in traditional home cooking. Duck soup on a cold evening, stewed duck to cool the body. Duck is seen as nourishing, especially for older adults who feel weak or overheated. And almost instinctively, ginger is added not just a little, but generously to remove the smell and balance the dish. This combination feels logical, it feels traditional, but inside an aging body, it creates a physiological conflict that few people talk about. Let me describe a scene many of you may recognize. A family gathers for dinner. The duck dish is rich, aromatic, comforting. After eating, an older adult begins to feel bloated. The stomach feels heavy. Gas builds. There's a cold sensation in the abdomen followed by fatigue and discomfort that lasts well into the night. The next morning, they wake up feeling unusually heavy, slightly swollen around the eyes, hands, stiff energy low. Most people shrug it off. "I'm getting old," they say. But this is not just age. This is a digestive and circulatory imbalance with real consequences for the kidneys. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Duck meat has a strong cooling effect on the body. It slows digestive fire, especially in older adults whose stomach acid and enzyme production are already reduced. Ginger, on the other hand, is intensely warming and stimulating. When these two opposing forces enter the stomach together, the digestive system doesn't balance them. Instead, it becomes confused. The stomach muscles begin to contract and relax irregularly, trying to process two conflicting signals at once. This leads to delayed digestion, fermentation, and excessive gas production. As gas and undigested food accumulate, pressure builds inside the abdomen. That pressure doesn't stay localized. It pushes outward and upward, compressing nearby blood vessels, including those that supply the kidneys. And kidneys are extremely sensitive to changes in blood flow. Even a mild repeated reduction in circulation can impair their filtering ability over time. From a physiological perspective, this matters more than most people realize. The kidneys receive about 20% of the body's blood flow to perform their filtering function. When abdominal pressure rises repeatedly, meal after meal, blood delivery to the kidneys becomes inconsistent. At the same time, duck meat is relatively high in protein and metabolic waste. So the kidneys are asked to work harder while receiving less oxygen and fewer nutrients. It's like forcing an aging engine to run at higher speed while slowly cutting off its fuel supply. This is why the damage doesn't feel dramatic at first. There's no sharp pain, no immediate crisis. Instead, there are subtle signs, persistent bloating after meals, swelling in the face or hands upon waking, darker or foamy urine, a sense of heaviness that doesn't go away. These are not digestive quirks. They are early warnings that the kidneys are being stressed in a slow, cumulative way. And here's what makes this mistake so dangerous: it's repeatable. People don't eat duck with ginger once. They eat it again and again, at family gatherings, on weekends, during cold seasons. Over months and years, this repeated internal conflict can contribute to chronic kidney function decline, especially in people over 60 whose vascular elasticity and recovery capacity are already reduced. So what is the solution? It's not about avoiding duck forever, and it's not about demonizing ginger. It's about choosing compatibility instead of habit. When cooking duck, replace ginger with garlic or chives. These ingredients still help remove odor and support digestion, but they provide a gentler, more stable warming effect that does not shock the stomach or disrupt circulation. Garlic and chives support blood flow without overstimulation, allowing digestion to proceed smoothly and protecting kidney perfusion. This single substitution can dramatically reduce post-meal bloating, stabilize abdominal pressure, and ease the long-term workload placed on the kidneys. Many people who make this change notice lighter digestion, less morning swelling, and improved overall comfort, signs that internal circulation has become more balanced again. Now pause for a moment and think about your own meals. Have you eaten duck with ginger and felt uncomfortable afterward, but dismissed it as normal? If so, that discomfort was not random. It was your body asking for a different choice. But even avoiding this combination is still not enough to fully protect your kidneys. Because there is one final danger related to ginger, silent, invisible, and far more lethal, that doesn't depend on timing, medication, or food pairing at all. And just knowing about dietary combinations isn't enough, because there is one form of ginger that can damage the kidneys at a cellular level, and most people use it without hesitation. You've just seen how ginger can quietly harm the body when it collides with medication, and how a common food pairing can slowly starve the kidneys of blood. But there is one danger connected to ginger that is far more ruthless, because it doesn't depend on timing, on drugs, or on what you eat it with. It hides in plain sight inside kitchens, refrigerators, and shopping bags, and most people use it without a second thought. I'm talking about spoiled or sprouting ginger. This is where good intentions turn into irreversible damage. Many older adults grew up in times when wasting food was unthinkable. You learn to save, to cut away the bad part, to keep the rest. So when a piece of ginger becomes soft at the tip, slightly moldy, or begins to sprout, the instinct is simple: slice off the damaged area and use what looks clean. It feels responsible. It feels careful. But biologically, this is one of the most dangerous decisions you can make. Here's why. When ginger begins to rot or sprout, it can produce toxic compounds, including substances that researchers have linked to liver toxicity and kidney cell damage. One of the most alarming characteristics of these toxins is that they are heat stable. Boiling does not destroy them. Stewing does not neutralize them. No amount of cooking makes spoiled ginger safe again. And unlike surface mold on some foods, toxins in spoiled ginger do not stay where you can see them. Ginger has a fibrous, water-rich internal structure like a network of tiny channels. Once spoilage begins, toxins can spread throughout the entire root. That means cutting away the bad spot does not remove the danger. The damage has already traveled. Now imagine what happens when these toxins enter the body. They pass through the digestive system and head straight to the liver and kidneys, the two organs responsible for detoxification. The liver tries to break them down. The kidneys try to filter them out. But here's the problem: kidney cells do not regenerate easily. When toxic compounds injure the microscopic filtering units of the kidneys, that loss is often permanent. This isn't speculation. Toxicology research has repeatedly shown that exposure to certain plant-derived toxins, especially in aging bodies, can accelerate cellular degeneration in the liver and kidneys. And the risk is higher in older adults because detox pathways slow with age, blood flow is less resilient, and recovery capacity is limited. What a younger body might survive, an older body may not. Let me share a story that still stays with me. An elderly woman, late 60s, used ginger daily in soups and teas. She prided herself on never wasting food. One winter, she continued using ginger that had become soft and slightly bitter, trimming away what looked bad. Over the following months, she developed unexplained fatigue, loss of appetite, and swelling in her ankles. Blood tests later showed elevated liver enzymes and declining kidney function. There was no single dramatic event, no sudden pain, just a slow, quiet collapse of systems that had been poisoned little by little. This is what makes spoiled ginger so lethal. It doesn't hurt immediately. There's no burning sensation, no instant warning. The damage accumulates silently at the cellular level until the body can no longer compensate. From a scientific standpoint, this is especially concerning because toxins that affect the kidneys often cause oxidative stress, a process that damages DNA proteins and cell membranes. Over time, this can contribute not only to kidney failure, but also to an increased risk of cancer, particularly in the liver. These are not scare tactics. These are well-documented biological mechanisms. So let's be very clear about the rule here. This is non-negotiable. If ginger shows even one sign of spoilage, softness, mold discoloration, bitterness, or sprouting, discard the entire root immediately. Do not trim it. Do not dry it. Do not cook it longer. Throw it away. This is not waste. This is prevention. People often hesitate and say, but it's such a small amount. That logic does not apply to toxins. When it comes to kidney cells, there is no safe small dose once damage begins. Protecting your kidneys is not about saving ingredients. It's about preserving irreplaceable tissue. And here's an important psychological shift I want you to make. The money you think you're saving by keeping spoiled ginger is insignificant compared to the cost of medical treatment, dialysis, or lifelong organ damage. One trip to the emergency room outweighs years of saved groceries. Your health is not the place to practice extreme frugality. The solution is simple and empowering. Buy ginger in smaller quantities. Store it properly, dry, cool, and ventilated. Inspect it before every use, and give yourself permission to discard it the moment something feels off. This one habit alone can eliminate a major hidden threat to your liver and kidneys. Now take a moment and look back at your own kitchen. Have you ever used ginger that was no longer firm, no longer fresh, but still usable? If so, this message matters more than you realize, because everything you've learned so far about medications, about food combinations, can still fail if the ginger itself is toxic. But knowing these dangers still isn't enough, because there is one final principle that determines whether ginger protects you or destroys you, and it comes down to timing, habit, and how you live with this knowledge every single day. Before we end, I want you to remember one important thing. None of what you heard today is meant to scare you. It's meant to protect you, because taking care of your kidneys isn't about drastic changes or expensive treatments. It's about small, informed decisions made every day. Knowing when ginger helps, when it harms, and when it should be avoided altogether is already a powerful step toward aging with strength, clarity, and independence. If this video helped you see a habit in a new light, I encourage you to save this video, not for me, but for yourself or for someone you care about who might need this reminder later. And if you want to keep learning simple, evidence-based ways to protect your kidneys, your heart, and your overall health as you age, please subscribe to the channel. I share the latest medical insights in a way that's practical, respectful, and designed for real life. Most importantly, I want you to know this: it is never too late to make a better choice. Your body is always listening, always responding. When you give it clarity instead of confusion, support instead of stress, it finds its way back to balance. Protecting your kidneys today is not just about avoiding illness, it's about preserving the freedom to live the years ahead with dignity, comfort, and peace of mind. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next video.